Run, party, repeat. Welcome to the East Coast Adventures Dirt and Vert podcast, where we talk all things running, racing, and training to help you get ready for your next big adventure.
Learn from our successes and our failures, and have fun at the same time. Join us right here every week with inspiring guests who share their captivating tales from the trails. And remember, nobody cares.
Run faster. All right. Welcome back to the Dirt and Vert podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Matt.
And if you guys don't see the two familiar faces on this screen, they have both been on this podcast and they have both told their stories.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ever want to go back and listen to these two gentlemen and their stories, go back in time on the Dirt and Vert podcast. You'll find them both, Dana, Eric Kienle. Now, what's really cool about these guys is that they both are last men standing from Mid-State Miles. So that is what this podcast is about today. We had Mark and Harvey on talking about, they're obviously two really good backyard runners.
Yep.
But now we got two really good mid-state runners that we're going to talk to and kind of learn about why they chose this race, how they trained for this race, and things that kind of worked and didn't. So It's going to be, we're 2 weeks out from Mid-State. Not even really 2 weeks at this point. It's getting really close.
Yep.
Father's Day weekend. Super exciting. Going to be a lot of good runners there. And we thought it would be good to give you guys a little master class of the Murder Mile. So with that being said, Aaron, let's kind of start with you and just kind of like what this race means to you, how you found it, and why you wanted to do it.
Originally I was following along when Chad ran it the first year.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw, what came about at that race with him and Greg Armstrong going out down to the end. They talked about the race afterwards, and I was still pretty fresh into my trail running, ultra running journey at that point. And it just seemed like such an awesome challenge that it kind of scared me a little bit, intimidated me. So the first year I ever ran it was in 2021. And that's the year that they filmed that documentary. But yeah, it looked like such an epic challenge. There was I was trying to learn about Mid-State in 2020, 2021. There was nothing out there, right? We had one podcast. There was a video of Chili bear crawling up the hill. I'm like, what is this hill? What am I getting myself into? So yeah, I've obviously ran it several times since then, but it looked like such an awesome challenge. And then after the first year, I was just hooked because it exposes all your weaknesses, but it also kind of gives you that glimpse of man, I could do better, right? It gives you a hunger to want to improve on everything, on all your strategies, pacing, fueling, cooling, everything. And then the community is just amazing. And at that point in my life, my wife was still trying to understand, what is this ultra running all about? She didn't get it. But after Mid-State, I would say it really helped her to see why I do it, because she just saw everybody giving their all that year. And it just it clicked for her. So it's a family event for us. My kids come down. I took a break from running it last year, but it's something we look forward to every year. I don't know how many more years I'll be running it every year, but I'm hungry this year to be back. But yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Love it. All right, Eric, let's hear from you, sir.
Yeah, so ran it 6 years now. I ran the first one in 2020, and the way I found that was, that was, COVID starting up and races were kind of getting canceled one by one, and I was registered for Cruel Joe 100 and was just kind of hoping that the race was still going to get put on, and it did not. So Alex Brown actually reached out to me and told me that Becca Jones was going to be putting on a race, a last man standing, kind of explained the format. I think I was just starting to find out about like bigs, and I think they were kind of hitting around like 280 miles out there, which was, that was pretty profound at the time. And so going out to mid-state and running it, and I just remember how hard it was and how much I wanted it to stop, and I was trying to make up these reasons of why I couldn't do another loop, and I just kept getting back to the corral, and I still had time, and remember getting real frustrated. And then when I finally timed out, I just watched Alex, Chad, and Greg Armstrong just duke it out, and within, I think, 15 minutes of me stopping, like I felt so much better after I just ate a little bit, drank something. Like I ended up going out and hiking another lap just while they were out running. So I knew instantly right then and there I had more to give out there. But then we watched Greg come across, and I thought I was done. And that guy definitely looked like he was done, but he refused to quit. And to the point he was falling over, and we watched him just get up and go out for another lap. And we were all just kind of floored. And I don't think we really realized like the gravity of what we just saw, but watching him give everything just to help push Chad a little bit farther to, not for his accomplishments, but to help his fellow runner go farther. I think that really kind of set the stage for what this race could be. So definitely leaving that first year, like I wanted to give a performance like that. I wanted to give everything to the point like I was falling down and like giving everything I had, and that's kind of what just kept me coming back until we got it, until we figured it out.
I'll never forget that first year because Mike Taylor and I were very naive in what this race even was, and we show up thinking we're going to run 100 miles. Like we had no idea. Like we had been messaging back and forth with Becca. It was the first year we started as race directors as well. So, we kind of like we're all talking about that, and our race got postponed, and we go out there, and like I remember, I'll never forget, Doug was sitting behind me and Mike, and Doug's like introduced himself. He's like, what's your all's goal? I was like, I don't know. I'd like to make it 100 miles. Doug just turned his head and looked at me, and he said, have you been on the course? I said, nope. He's like, okay, you might do it. And Mike and I both ran one lap, and we just looked at each other and we're like, not getting 100 miles. We didn't train for this. But I do remember like the setting and how cool it was that day. And I still think year one was just incredibly special because no one knew. No one knew that entire trail, and it was just really cool watching everybody learn it. And I'll never forget Greg. Like Greg was out there talking, but you could tell like Greg was having like a leg issue all day. Like later he said something about like it had been bothering him, but he wanted to give his all for Chad, and he felt like he owed that to him because he had been out there so long already. He was not going to just quit. And like, man, that's the shit that's so inspiring. Like, it's just when people can actually just, like you said, Eric, he had no quit in him. Like his body shut down before his mind did. And that's pretty impressive. There's not a lot of people in this world that can do that. And watching him come across that finish line, falling, getting back up and struggling, just trying to get back to the start line. Like, I think all of us like felt that in the moment, and it was just really cool. So I'm glad you brought that up, Eric. I actually had forgot about all of that until you and Aaron were both talking about the first year. And I remember Chili bear crawling up. Aaron, it's funny you said that. He was bear crawling up that hill with the flashlight in his mouth.
Yeah. Flashlight in his mouth, crushed up water bottle in his hand. Like I remember going up Myers and just like looking at him and watching him do this,
I mean, he ran to failure. Like he completely ran to failure. It was impressive. But man, it was really cool. So let me say this. I want to ask Eric this first. And that is, so you did year one,
Mm-hmm.
you saw them keep going, and you go out there and hike another lap, knowing that you could have went further. How did that motivate you for year 2, and how did you train?
I think it's kind of hard to remember actually. I think I was still kind of training like my old ways. I was running a lot of volume at that time, but I really wasn't fine-tuned enough as maybe I should have been. I had just moved from Florida. I was living in Florida during the first year. Second year, I moved out to Montana, so I kind of thought having all these mountains right outside my front door, that was going to help me a lot more out there. But I actually ended up getting like injured about like a month before that race and kind of didn't really do much as far as like rehabbing it. I just kind of thought it would just kind of heal on its own. But I had a lot more access to mountains and vert going into that second year than I did my first year.
So you really focused on trying to get more vert, like just overall?
Vert and volume.
Yeah, just vert and volume, just trying to, I was just trying to max out the numbers that second year, but that didn't really work out as well as I wanted it to.
I remember, me and you both did not have the year we wanted, year 2. I think it was it year 2 or year 3? It was year 2.
Yep.
Year 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were both on the struggle bus, you, me, and Aaron Patrick that year.
Yeah, I think me and you timed out within like just a couple
It
of
was
hours
close.
of each
Yeah,
other.
It was very close.
Yeah.
I remember puking chicken noodle soup all over the finish line.
Sure
It
did.
was awesome. So, Aaron, you come in the second year.
Mhm.
So that's when you've watched the first year, you're motivated, you come and you have an outstanding performance at Mid-State. So that's kind of cool too. Like Eric had an outstanding performance the first year. I remember them posting like the 4 horsemen remain, and one of them was Eric. And then the second year, I remember seeing you, and I'm like, who's this guy? You kind of come out of nowhere, and you had a great performance.
Yeah.
So you got to watch, like some of the stuff on there, which kind of motivated you. But how did you train for a race that you'd never stepped foot on?
I mean, let me think. That was 2021. I mean, I live in New York, and we have the Adirondack mountain range up here. So 2020, 2021, there was not much to do. So I was hiking a lot of mountains, which is really good. I was just getting my climbing legs. And then I started working with a coach. I wasn't working with Becca. I was working with Becca after this one coach, but he just kind of had me doing lots of hill work. He had me doing strength work, but it was a little bit higher intensity, I guess, so I wasn't doing as much low heart rate stuff. And I think I was pretty ready, but I also don't think I tapered long enough going in that first year. And I was like carrying a little too much fatigue. But also I wasn't really heat trained either, because that's like a whole other part of my training now is like, I have to specifically get heat adapted, because the heat took me out like the first couple years. So yeah, I would say I was doing like a good amount of vert. I was climbing mountains, doing hill repeats. And I didn't know what to expect. I don't have any hills that big in my town where I live, but I felt like I could train adequately here doing hill repeats. So I felt like my body held up pretty good. I was just overheating. And I was still only like a year and a half into running at that time. So, I've gained a lot of fitness and durability since then. But yeah, I was just overheating. Like I just kept getting further and further back. Like Chad that year, he was slow, right? He wasn't going very fast, like maybe 18-minute loops. And I never saw him until I did. And then he started climbing the hill faster than me. And I was just like, dang it. I'm fading. And I could just feel it every loop. It sucked. I was crying up at the top of the first climb. I'm just like, dang it, I'm fading. But it just made me hungry for more, because like it just, like I said, exposes all your weaknesses. But I also was content with third place because I didn't believe that I could even get third. Looking at all the other runners there, Greg Armstrong, like I beat Greg. I wanted to outlast Greg Armstrong, which I did. But that first year was about belief, because I doubted a lot during the night. I didn't feel like I belonged there. And I had to just grow in that belief that I did. And then over the course of the years, like that belief just kept growing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously your training worked. So you just said like your taper was probably not early enough. So that probably hurt
not.
you.
I think I just carried a decent amount of because Becca, when I was working with Becca as my coach, she'd have us do like 3-week tapers. And I probably only did 2 weeks with the other coach. And I just I've been tapering for 2 weeks already and I'm sick this week. Right. And it's I need that extra week to kind of let my body reset. So the week before the race, it's just I'm good to go. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a valid point. And especially when you don't taper in weather like this, it's even more multiplied because you're just taxing your body with heat you don't really need to be out there doing. You could get the same thing with a small run and a little bit of heat training in a sauna versus going out and doing a 30-mile run. That's just not, and that comes with time. We all learn this stuff. Like when I showed up at Mid-State the first year, I mean, I was very naive. I was still, I'd been running 2 years. I was still learning what not to do, like drink chicken noodle soup right out of the can. So it was, it's always a learning curve, no matter how many times you do it. But that's the cool thing about this race. It will always humble you.
Yeah, it will. Mm-hmm.
It will, because even the person that wins, they got humbled at some point in that race. They had to struggle to get to where they're at, and not every loop is easy. No. Most loops at that course become very hard, and it's the mindset to try to keep pushing forward and being very smart in your strategies for your pace.
Yeah.
And I think you both nailed it your first years coming right out of the gate of being prepared as much as you could for something you never saw.
Yeah.
It's still hard for me to explain. I have people ask me all the time, what's it like? I'm like, it's 2 mountains.
Yep.
That's the only way I can tell you. You can't truly, a picture does not do that hill justice.
I know. Cody Lonhart, he ran it last year and he's coming back this year. And he was asking me all these questions about the hill. He goes, how big's the hill? I said, it's a pretty big hill. It's a really steep hill. The incline's, it's steep. Stick your hand out, you can probably touch it. Well, he ran the race. He did well. He looked like 60-something miles. And then he goes, you underplayed that hill. I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. It's huge. But he keeps telling me, you underplayed it. You underplayed it. I'm like, hey, all I got to tell you, it's huge. And you just got to reach out and you can touch it. So,
and it's truly hard to describe.
It is.
Now, talking to John this past week, I think this is going to be really cool. And Eric, you're going to love this if you're watching it from the couch this year. But he said that they have 9 cameras on course now. And a couple of them, I think, are even motorized. So they're going to be able to we're going to see even more coverage, which is going to be really cool. So he said Forrest has cameras ran all over the place over there. So I think the live stream this year is going to be pretty remarkable.
So he's got them on the hill now?
He's got them everywhere except the very back hill, I think is what he said. They still can't really get up there too well. But that's kind of cool. I can't wait to see.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Can't wait to see what that looks like.
Yep.
Now let's switch gears a little bit because I think this is a really hard thing to grasp in this race. And I struggled with it the second year, not so much the first year. But I know that other people have struggled with this too. And that is your stomach. Because this isn't a traditional race. It's not a 1 hour backyard where you make a loop, you eat your food, and you're on a regular schedule.
Yeah.
You got 2 or 3 minutes. You got 20-minute loops. You're coming in 3 times an hour. And a lot of people try to eat every loop. Some people eat once every 3 loops. But Like, what is your all's strategy? Like, if you had someone brand new, think about it this way. I'm asking you this question. You had someone brand new that's never seen this course, because we got a lot of new runners coming this year.
Yep.
What advice would you give them starting out for nutrition and how to fuel it?
I, for me, what I like to kind of have a variety. I don't want to be asked, what do you want? I want to be able to just see it. So
Yeah.
I want something maybe salty, sweet, gel. Like I just want to see options. Same thing for drinks, whether it's water, coconut water, Coke, whatever. I just want to see a couple different options for drinks, a couple different options for food. And I'll just grab it. Like my job's not really to like think and like place my order when I get to the corral. Like I just want it out and I'll just take what I want. And I'll just try to kind of eat a little bit of something every time. Just take a sip, take a salt pill. I'm more focused on like having a good cooling strategy. I want to try to use whatever time I have when I come through that corral to start cooling. And while I'm being cooled, I've already got the options out. So I can just kind of take what I need. I don't have to, have somebody ask me, what can I get you? Like it's already out, it's already there. All those little seconds you can shave off, that's just more time for you to rest, get your heart rate down, gather your mind, and like get ready to do it again because that whistle blows pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I agree. Have a variety of stuff. Real food as much as you can. And, and then you'll pay attention to what works for you. I mean, one year I just ate a lot of grapes. That was tasting good. One year I was like eating a lot of applesauce packets. One year I was like, I loved these. I had combos, my buddy brought combos and I was like, dude, can I have those? He's like, sure, they were for me. But, so now it's like, yeah, just have some variety. And then I agree. Like I'm always trying to drink calories too. So I have like a drink mix, and then water. But yeah, if for as far as stomach issues go, I've never had crazy stomach issues. I mean, until like the end of the year where Eric won, I was having some stomach issues. But if it's the heat, I just try to tone it down a little bit. Don't eat quite as much for like a loop or two. And maybe I'm just getting liquid calories in. Because when you have such high temperatures, it's harder to digest the food. So you got to find stuff that works and just be sensitive to your stomach. Don't try to overeat,
Yeah.
So I think if it's just that slow drip of food, have a good amount of options. You can probably eat more at night because it's cooler. So yeah, I think having good options, like I like to have fruit options, like real food options. And then Eric, did you ever eat during like the intermissions, like eat more food?
No,
Like
what
eat
I like to do is I try to use those couple loops right before the intermission to kind of eat a little bit heavier. So when I get to that intermission, I run that loop before a little bit faster. So my time in the corral is closer to like 25 minutes, 26 minutes. And I come in and I go right to bed. So you have the whole race to eat, like this is your only time to sleep. So like I try to maximize that time just for that.
That's smart. That's smart. Aaron, how did you use your time for the intermission?
Yeah, I mean, after the first year, I realized that I needed to use it for sleep. So I always tried to prioritize sleep. Doesn't mean that I was able to sleep, but I tried. So yeah, resting, like coming in, getting my wet clothes off, and just maybe getting my base layer on, and just probably I think I would deal with my feet, like get some dry socks on, get my stuff changed first, and then sleep, so that when I wake up to the whistle, I'm just ready to go. But I have a hard time sleeping out there. I try, but you put your headphones in with like white noise, a mask over, man, you've just been running for 12 to 24 hours, and it's like, it's hard.
Yeah, and I think with those 12-hour intermissions, like especially that first one, like I don't think anybody's ever actually successfully fallen asleep during that first 12 hours. I think the best thing you can do is just try to close your eyes and just try to lay still. And there's always somebody making noise that first 12 hours, so like I've never tried the headphones thing, but like the next time I go back, I'm definitely going to try that just to kind of, cancel out that noise, just so it can be quiet so I can just kind of reset my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. That's really good advice for, making it to the intermission. Making it to the intermission is a job in
That is a
itself.
job, yeah.
It's like
Yep.
that. That's if you've never ran this race and you make it to the first intermission, like check a box.
Check a
Be
box.
proud of yourself,
Yeah.
because that's a lot of people who don't do that.
That's a lot of people's main goal is, that just make it to intermission. And then after that, you're like, oh, these are extra miles. So, yeah.
Yeah, and usually if you can get past the intermission, the sun's going down at that point.
Yep.
You kind of get a little life back to you
Yep.
till you get sleepy. But with that being said, when you're doing the night loops and you've spent all day now in the sun. I mean, this race, like I can say it many times, like, and until you experience it, it's hard to put it all together. But like, it's Tennessee.
Yeah.
It's humid. It's 90 plus degrees. And like, I know that to most people, they're going to be like, I run the heat all the time. This is different. Like, it is just super wet. Like
Thick.
it's
thick.
It's just kind of different. But on top of that, you never really get to bring your heart rate down too much on this course. Because even when you're hiking, your heart rate's still 140 or 150 going up that freaking mountain. Like you might be able to get a little lower. So like you're always like, a pretty good volume of work every loop. But then the night comes and you've spent all day now doing all that. You get your trek poles, like boom, there's some life. But also, did you guys focus on then, like throughout the night, trying to focus on rehydrating more or refueling more, or did you just kind of keep where you were at the whole time, like trying to be consistent?
I think just being consistent. Yeah, it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you can kind of drink by feel anyways. So, maybe you don't have to drink quite as much in the nighttime, but I don't know. Sometimes the night can almost feel hotter because it's so humid.
Agreed.
I might not be cooling at night, like with the ice bandana and ice in my arm sleeves, but I'm still shirtless because it's so humid.
It is.
But no, I don't think I personally noticed changing any strategy at nighttime. I mean, I don't really count my calories, but who knows? Maybe I eat slightly less because I don't, or maybe eat more. I don't know. It's more mentally challenging at night for sure, and you have to really find a buddy out there, someone to kind of connect with, because there's way fewer numbers, and then people are just dropping, right? So it just gets quieter and quieter. Every time you line up, you're like, holy crap, there's less of us. So there's a lot that you need to do at night. I think that you don't have to do during the day, mentally to stay locked in.
Yeah, and I think night too it can almost kind of be this false confidence for runners, escaping the heat.
Yeah.
But I think there's something really important to remember is like just how those trees are formed out on the mile. It kind of makes a canopy and it kind of traps all that humidity in there from the day. So sometimes like you don't really get that break from the heat and humidity till like 1, 2 in the morning. So I run hot as is. My body temperature is just always hot. But even going into the night, like you still got to practice cooling strategies. You still got to take salt. As it kind of gets a little bit later, you can kind of feel like, and everybody knows their body best. So sometimes you can start to kind of back off that salt when you feel like you've had enough, you're hydrating a little bit better. And sometimes that cooling strategy starts to switch to a warming strategy. Kind of around 2, 3 in the morning, sometimes I've got to come in and throw in a blanket just to stay warm. Because always that first little part until you get to the walking hill, that's kind of the coldest part of the course. And then once your body's moving, like you start kind of building up that heat. And like Aaron was saying, like, night starts to get quiet, we've been lucky, like on the years where Luke Bolschweiler's there and he's telling stories and he's kind of leading us through the night. But I've, for so many years running that race, you can kind of watch the night change and it happens in stages. So like right after that 12-hour intermission, the fireflies come out. So you kind of get to watch the fireflies for a couple hours. Then when you're climbing up Myers, like you start to see all like the creepy crawlies, like the bugs, the beetles, the little millipedes, the toads. Like kind of look for those. They'll kind of come in waves. And then, you get through those kind of middle hours. It starts to actually kind of cool off. And then a couple hours after that, the birds start coming up. You can kind of start seeing a little bit of light through the trees. Like there's ways to break it up. And like, if I can just be like, oh, I'm in the firefly stage right now. I'm in the bug stage right now. I'm in the toad stage right now. Right. I'm in the birds. Like there's easy ways to kind of break it up and like enjoy when you're in that. Like I always love seeing like the things that come out on the climbs, like as far as like the wildlife or like the possums or, armadillos rustling in the leaves, like there's stages and they come out at like different times and you can watch it repeat itself the next night too.
It's pretty interesting.
That's a good way to put it.
That's pretty observant, Eric.
Yeah.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
I'm just trying to survive out there.
I mean, when you're running a 1 mile loop, you got plenty of time to like observe the scenery.
Yeah, Aaron even said it on one of his stories when he was talking about like something being redundant, but like how every day he goes out and it's different. An animal's dug a hole or something, like it's rained and now this part's kind of eroded. Like even though it's the same thing, like just given the time of the day, the amount of given light, like it's a different loop every single time you go out there. Yeah, you're doing the same course, but like it does change. And I think the more you can appreciate those subtle changes, the more that loop's different and that experience is different. And you're not kind of like mentally trapped on this treadmill of like, I'm running, I'm working, but like, I'm not going anywhere. Like I'm stuck. I'm still in the same place. Like you can look for those other things and kind of take your attention off it. It'll help the night go a little bit faster.
I would say just so for people that haven't run the race at night, it's because once you get to the 24-hour intermission, it's down to a few people. But one of the most amazing things that happens is at night is when people are struggling, just hearing the encouragement to keep going. Like I can't remember the last time I ran it, I can't remember, but there was this guy that was just like took another runner under his wing and he was coaching him. Like I don't know how many more laps that kid got because someone was there. And so you just hear people encouraging each other to dig deep because you can tell people are fading. But there's yes, it happens during the day, but I feel like it's just that's all you can hear at night and it just motivates you. Like the other runners will be, you can tell someone's fading, but we'll yell back, to the runners behind us to keep going, to come on, you got this. So yeah, it's even though, someone's race is coming to an end, like they're reaching their limit, so it's encouraging to be around that, to be around the community of people that want everyone to go further. So yeah, it's the nighttime, like there's a lot of things that you can be grateful for out there that, like Eric was saying, you can be observant. Like I still remember all the creepy crawlies and then, some of them get stepped on, and then the spiders come out and they freaking pull those dead insects away and they eat them. And you're like, holy crap, like look what's happening in front of us, just staring at the ground, but like observe, be present, like be present with the hill, be present with what's happening out there. How often are you up all night in the woods like that, and listen to the sounds of encouragement out there and like be a source of encouragement to others as well, because that's what helps me get through the darkest times is being there for other people and getting my focus off of myself, right? Because your mind wants you to focus on your problems, your pain, but everyone else is going through it too. So reach out to
Yep.
someone else. And if you can support someone else, like, it gets your mind off of you, and it makes you grateful that you can speak life into someone else. So it's the nighttime is a great opportunity to do that, because every single person around you is probably struggling with something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's I mean, that's great advice.
It is.
Because I mean, just having a conversation with someone can actually just kind of help calm you down. You know, like just having a conversation back and forth can kind of ease you a little bit. So, and that
I think that's one of the best things about how the format is the more conversations you have, the more you forget about your running. You're just out in the woods with some buddies talking, and I mean, you go 20 miles. You're like, I was running 20 miles. I didn't even know I was running. And then that moment that you get by yourself, you start getting in your head. And then, I've done it, and I'm like, I got to find somebody to talk to. I got to go get with the group. So you go with the group. 10 miles later, you're like, you're not thinking about the problems anymore because you're just hanging out with your friends. So yeah, definitely with the group and keep talking.
well, and mid-state though, you're still going to think about your problems.
I don't know. The more I talk, the better it is. Until you get alone.
It just slowly beats you down.
As soon as you get alone, it comes all back.
It definitely helps, though.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And especially when you're fighting those horseflies.
I haven't been back since that second year.
Second year, I'll never forget.
They're awful.
Yeah, I remember Luke
Yeah,
put his shirt back on at night and then took it off, and like he was just like he had red marks all.
It looked
over
like he
him.
got the allergy test down his back to see what he was allergic to.
So good. Well, if they're gone, I like that much
They have
better.
no, I said that, but they have not been back like that year.
So let me ask you both this, and I think this is a prime question for brand new runners, because I think some runners that have already ran this race, like they're mentally prepared for the toughness of this race. Like they may not be physically prepared, but they know what they're up against. But for the new runners, and I was trying to like get this through with Mark and Harvey, because I think this is a big difference in this format. And that is, a regular last man standing, you can have a bad 10 or 15 minutes.
Yep.
You can still finish that loop. Mid-state, you have a bad 3 or 4 minutes, you're out. It's hard to make that up.
Yeah.
And for a new runner who's out here that gets stuck on that hill and gets in their head, like, what did you all tell yourself? Like, because everybody has a low moment somewhere on this course. The winners have low moments all the time, but they are able to figure out how to push through that loop, to figure out to work through it. And you have to give yourself time to work through problems. But the problem is you only have 3 or 4 minutes to work through a problem. So like, did you all have any type of like special strategy when you felt like you were crashing, or did you just kind of like have a mantra, or did you just push through? Like, I'm just curious, like, what was your mindset? Like, how did you get through those really low moments?
I heard somebody a long time ago when they talked about, the pain or the difficulty that we experience in an ultra, that, pain's not always linear. It doesn't always just continue to go. It's cyclical. So it's like you'll feel good and then you'll feel bad. And you just have to be willing to accept that that's what it is. And like there is another side to it, but how do you get through that? Like you have to remember you got to kind of make this race simple, because like it's a daunting task when you start to add up numbers or what a total could be at the end of your day. Like you can't look at that. You've got to make the loop that you're in successful, and you've got to try to make, how can I make this next mile successful while I'm in this mile? And I think it's simple as salt, food, water, cooling. You having a good loop, this loop is going to make your next loop a little bit better.
Yeah.
Well said.
I mean, if it's something practically you can address, let your crew know what you're dealing with, and let them think about it. You do have time to deal with things. You know, the struggle I had, so say I had like a physical, I remember, I think it was like my IT band or like my hip or something, or my knee was flaring up the second year, pretty early. And I was like, this is too early. This is too early to be having an issue like this. How am I going to be able to run for another 20 hours with this? And that was a mistake. You know, that was a mistake because I didn't have to think about running for 20 hours. I should have just focused on what I could do that loop, like Eric was saying. So that was a lesson learned of like, don't think about all the miles that you have to run. You know, do what you can each loop to make something a little bit better. You know, and maybe it doesn't get better, but just do what you can. But mentally, because there's a certain level of discomfort that we're all just going to experience, like it is what it is. It's not like you can fix anything. You just have to take it, you know, or whether it's the heat and you're just feeling just exhausted. Like that's when I try to talk to other people. You know, sometimes I'll just pray. I'll just pray for people in my life. I'll pray for my kids, you know, and just try to get my heart re-engaged. It was a lesson I learned at Tennessee Mile one year, because Tennessee Mile is a very lonely race, because I ended up running alone a lot. And I wasn't running from my heart anymore. And Big John did one loop with me, and he was just like encouraging me to give the effort that my family, my kids would be proud of, that I would be proud of, because I was kind of like, you know, walking a lot. And so in those harder moments, I think you just have to like find a way to tap back into who you want to be. Because when you get focused on your problems in everyday life and you have, woe is me, why is this not going the way I want it to go? Like that's not an overcoming mindset, you know? So I think tapping back into your character and who you want to be, and focus on the effort that you're giving. Because this race, in order to win it, it takes a lot of grit and just pure effort and pure, like, just determination to persevere through all of the discomfort. You know, the year that I finally won it, Darren asked me at the end, you know, nearing the end of the race, he's like, how are you doing, man? And I'm like, I'm just enduring. That's all I could do. All I had the energy to do was endure, just take it. So if you find yourself getting into a having a pity party, like find a way to tap into the badass that we all are, you know, and find a way to just endure it. It's like, okay, it sucks. Okay, it hurts. It hurts for everybody else. Deal with it, you know? So you have to dig a little deeper in yourself to find that. But it's worth it. Like that's why we do these races, is to find that edge, right? To find that part of us that can dig deeper when things are hurting.
Yeah, I mean, we're all looking for something. You know, we usually find it at this race. It may not be what we were looking for, but but well said, guys. Good advice on that, because you know that's one of the things that for this race, like when you have a new runner come out there and they do a couple of loops, like they immediately get in their head because they're like, oh man, this I've never trained for anything like this, you know, and it's easy to just go down that path, and then all of a sudden you're in Aaron's mind of like where he was of like, I can't do this for 12 hours. I can't do this for, you know, and like you just got to run the mile you're in, like that loop, and enjoy the people around you. And that I will say is a cool thing about this race. And you know, you've heard these guys talk about it, so but it's a 1 mile loop.
Yeah.
You are not going to outrun anybody on this loop. You're going to spend time with people all day. And that's what's really cool about this course. You're forced to spend time with people. So you might as well enjoy it and talk to them, because more than likely you're going to make some lifelong friendships in this event.
Yeah.
And I know Eric just because of this race.
Yep.
We both ran it the first year, you know, and I was talking to Alex. He introduced me to Eric, and that's how I met Eric. You know, and I didn't really get to meet Aaron till after the second year, because I don't even know if we talked any the second year, because we were both like different places of the course. But you know, I got to meet Aaron later. But like that's the really cool thing about this course is like you're going to be running it with somebody. So
Yeah.
make that relationship because it may help you pass the time.
Yep.
Just like these guys were talking about.
Yeah, every year at Midstate, it's like a family reunion. You know, you got people that you've been with for, I think this is my 6th year running it. I mean, I see you guys almost every year now, in July or in June, every year. Some of the same people. And, you know, you see them, you give them a big hug. You're like, oh, glad to see you. They may be from Colorado or Montana or wherever. But it's like a big family reunion. And it is good friendships that you actually get to have during this race because you're always with them. You know, the whole mile, you get to talk to somebody.
It's definitely a cool atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a family. And Becca and John have done such a good job with this event. So one more question and then kind of give you guys some rein to offer any other advice you want. But with this event, like, what do you think, and this is like more for you guys, this isn't, but what is the hardest part for you in this race? Like, I know you both have won it, but like, what's your biggest struggle in this event when you're running this 1.1 mile loop? Like, what's so hard for you about it? Is it the elevation? Is it the nutrition? Is it the timing? Like, I know you both have had really good races and you've not had good races. So, what do you think makes it so difficult for you both?
I think you have to remember how important it is to be patient out there. Like things can change, and sometimes they can change for the better, sometimes not so much, but you have to remember that like stuff is going to unfold the way it's supposed to out there. And you have to be patient and within yourself to take care of yourself during that time. And sometimes it seems like you're out there forever, but the second it's over, that seems like a blink of an eye, how long you were actually out there and how long it was difficult for you and how much you had to struggle. And then it kind of makes you realize that like you were during that time, like you were kind of taking yourself out of the race mentally. Like it's almost like there's all these alarms going off in your body and it's telling you to stop, and your body's trying to rationalize why it's a sound decision to stop. And you have to manually override all of that. And the best way is, being patient out there. And you have to understand that that is a part of the race. That's something that everybody gets to experience, that just the difficulty of this race. Everyone's experiencing that. And it's really easy when you start to get in your own head and you look at other people and they look like they're doing well. Hey, maybe that guy's just got a really good poker face. Everybody's experiencing that same level of difficulty. Everybody feels it on their body, but you have to be patient enough to know that eventually you're going to reach like a steady state. Your legs are only going to hurt so much to a certain point. That's just inflammation from running. Are you actually injured? Probably not. It's inflammation from being on that course. And you have to accept that you're in that state and you have to be patient and you have to continue to move through that. Becca always tells me, if you're patient enough, you have all the miles to fix anything that comes up. As long as you keep taking care of yourself on those loops and keep moving, like I think that's how you do it. You got to be patient out there.
Great advice. I love that.
Agreed. Yeah, I think the hardest thing for me out there is me. I'm the hardest part about this race. It's those weak areas, it's those fears that come out. The pain, the struggle brings those things out. Because that's why I keep coming back, because it's one of the few races that really, it can, like in any other race, you can just slow down, right? You can make it a little bit easier. You can let me just walk for a couple miles, recoup or take a break. You could take a power nap at an aid station if you wanted to, you know, in a 100-miler. But in this race, you just don't have time to like be like, I just need to chill. I just need to chill for a minute. So I think I'm the hardest part about being out there, because I'm the one that is dictating how my experience is going, you know. I mean, the hills are the hills. The heat is the heat. But our problems in life are never the external things. It's how are we navigating those things, right? Like you said, Eric, everybody out there has the same range of pain and issues that they're dealing with, but everybody has a totally different experience because of our thought life, you know? So I think I've learned over the years in this race in particular, how to navigate my thoughts, you know. And that's where a lot of people coming out for the first time, they're going to be faced with a lot that they didn't expect to be faced with, and a lot sooner than they expect to be faced with it, you know, because of all the obstacles out there. But and also don't look too much at other people, like Eric was saying. Like I looked at Eric's strength at the end of, like, with the year that he ran it. Like, I was looking at how strong he was, and I saw myself and the struggles I was having. I'm like, I stopped believing. I could have kept going. I could have kept going. And I don't know how many more I could have kept going, but I could have kept going. But I didn't want to. And I saw how strong Eric was. So you think about someone that's maybe going to finish in the middle of the pack. They're going to see so many strong runners out there, and they're like, nope, I'm not even close to what they're doing right now. And they're going to take themselves out of it. But like, you have to run your own race, and you have to get the most out of it that you can. So don't be distracted by other people and their strength, how good or bad it's going for them. Just like, learn how to navigate your thoughts. And, you know, like I said earlier, be the person of character that you want to be in those hard moments. Like, that's why you showed up to this race. It's like John says, if you want a distance PR, this is not the event for it, right? If you want to see how far you can go. But like, this race definitely will develop something inside of you like a few other races can, if you're willing to learn those lessons and embrace those hardships and look in the mirror and realize that, like, you do have the power and ability to overcome, you know, everything, because it's all in our heads. It's all in our perspectives. So that's what that's what I would say. And that's what I'm most grateful for over the years, is seeing my perspective. Eric and I have like grown so much together because we share lessons learned, you know. And I think there's a lot of people that are out there that have similar perspectives, so that when we all get in these dark places, like, we can pull each other out of them more easily because we've been there together. It's like being in battle together, you know. And we're not just going to tuck tail and run. We're going to stay in the fight together.
Kind of how you're saying, like, you know, looking at people, and if like you're kind of in the middle of that wave, you know, like you start going up these climbs, you're watching people ahead of you, and like people look good, you know. I think it's real important to kind of treat yourself like a horse, like pulling a carriage, and how they kind of got these little blinders on, and they can only focus on the task that's in front of them. And I'd say, like, keep those blinders up when you come through the corral, because I mean, you guys are RDs, like you know how like an aid station is. We've all had like a rough race, and like people tend to perk up right before they get to an aid station, and then they've got that little bit of juice leaving the aid station, and then they just, you know, walk and they do this death march. People coming through that corral are going to perk up because there's eyes on them, their families there, the other runners are there. Like, I'd say keep those blinders on when you're in the corral. Like, when I come to my chair, like, I'm looking straight ahead. I'm not looking at somebody who's maybe putting on a poker face, or I'm not going to look at somebody who looks, you know, like hot garbage and be like, oh man, that guy's going out soon. Like, I'm doing better. I'm not going to like look at people's strengths or weaknesses. Like, when I come in that corral, like, the blinders are still on. Like, I'm looking at my plates of food. I'm talking to my crew. Like that's it. Like don't look at people in that crowd because sometimes they'll give that like kind of false strength and like sometimes that can be draining, especially like if you don't know how to like navigate yourself internally when you're out there and you haven't done this before. Like don't look at other people's, maybe false strengths that they're trying to display. Like you've got to stay within you and you've got to be patient because like, that facade will fade away if somebody's faking it out there. Like the mile will expose that and people see that. So I think it's just important to really just keep your head in the game the whole loop and especially like in the crowd.
No, that's great advice. I mean, even comparing yourself to someone that's you think's about to go out is not good because if that person,
I did that with Justin.
yeah,
Like I
if
watched
that
him
person
struggle.
bounces back, it destroys you because you're like,
That's what happened to
you're
me.
like, well, how
I
did they
couldn't
do
keep up.
that? I feel terrible. Like, how did they do that? Why can't I do it? And then you have a bad loop, and you're like, oh shit, like I'm falling apart now. Like I can't. It's great advice. Don't compare yourself to the good runners or the bad runners. Like just run your own race because either way, it's going to get in your head. Either way.
Yep.
I think that's great. Like your all's perspectives are great. And Aaron, one thing you said is 100% true. This course will expose your flaws. It just truly will. So be prepared for that mentally. Like if you have a weakness, you're going to find it in this event. And that could be that your quads aren't ready, your mind's not ready, your stomach's not ready. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've seen walk down that hill backwards because they can't, their quads are gone, and for most people, they don't train downhill, they train uphill. So, if you don't train your quads, you're going to end up walking backwards down this thing, and like I've seen many people do it. And like, that's the thing. This course is meant, it is designed to break you. Like it's meant to expose your weaknesses in a good way. Take something from that. Like that's what's cool. It's only going to make you better. There's nothing wrong in going out in 3 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours. Like whenever you time out, you time out. Do your best. Try to stay focused and like take something away from that. Like, why did this happen? And that's exactly what these guys have done every time. Like, what's happened? What little chink in my armor do I need to work on next? And like, think about that when you go into this event. Like, think about what's going wrong. Guys, we do have some listener questions here in a minute that Matt will go through. But the last thing I'll ask you guys is, and normally I ask people like why they run, but we've asked you both that. If they want to hear that, they can go find your old podcast. What I want to ask you is there any advice that we've not talked about that you would like to share with a new runner? Anything at all? And if not, that's cool. But I wanted to give you all the opportunity to share anything you wanted that's on your, on your heart or mind about this course.
I think if you were, looking at this race on paper, like it seems pretty simple, right? Like 340 feet of climb, that's not that much, a mile, that's not that far, but when you look at like some of the past of what the totals are at the end, like that's a daunting task. And it's hard when you strap in and like now you're doing that and you're only at like 20, 30 miles. And you think like, oh my God, how am I going to run another 80, 90 miles? Like you can't do that. You've really got to break it down to if this was a race on paper and you were scrolling Ultra Sign Up and you saw a 100-miler or whatever distance and they posted that there was an aid station every mile, like how obtainable is that goal now? Like you have to remember that like you're going to get to that next aid station in 17, 18 minutes, even if like you feel like you're dying, like you're going to make it there. So you just have to remember like help is just around the corner. You've just got to get yourself there. So try to keep it simple. Like it's food, water, salt, saying yes, and like keep moving. Like there's help around the corner.
That is excellent advice. That's a great way to think about it. Like, the worst you can do is 20-ish minutes.
Right.
and
And then
you're
you're
going to
done.
get help. So that's great.
Yeah. And
It's
I
a good way to
think,
think about it.
I think there's, most of the time in this race, you're spent on course. And then you have small windows of time in getting crew and getting aid. And like that has to be dialed in. Because your pace is going to be your pace. Everyone has to figure out what pace works for them. But it's being efficient in your crew, having a plan, having a strategy, sticking to it. And when you're getting close to the corral, be thinking about what you need to tell your crew, right? If you need this, you need that. Hey, I want to have this for the next loop, whatever it is. Like, you have to be involved. Like, you can't just like be a zombie out there. Like, you have to be active. So if you want to have success in this race, like, you have to have a dialed in crew, and that's something that you can kind of learn as you go. But make sure you have a pretty good strategy and stick to it. Because you have to just do all those little things consistently, loop in and loop out. Because I think you guys have covered a lot. We've covered a lot on past podcasts as well. But that's kind of the fun of this race, because it is so unique. And yes, you do have an aid station every mile, but you don't have a lot of time to spend at that aid station. But that's kind of the fun part too, I would say, for people that are coming that haven't run it, that are going to be crewing this. Because like my biggest concern right now is my wife, because she's going to be crewing me and dealing with the kids. I don't have anybody else coming to help. So that's honestly my biggest concern going into the race. But she's done it before and she knows there's other people around to lean on. So I would just say, if you want to have a good crew experience and you want your crew to have a good experience, encourage them to lean on other people around them. Be observant. You see what other people are doing. My wife has learned so much by watching other people. Bring a fan, like Eric said before, have a battery powered fan, have a cooling strategy. But yeah, for your crew to help you, encourage them to lean on other people. And the later in the race, there's more people around to help. And just tell like my wife knows now that she can ask for help, because people are all willing to help. You look down to like the final 2 or 3 guys, there's like 10-person crews like all around them, because everyone wants to help. So yeah, that's just, I think we've covered a lot, and a lot of the fun part about this race is figuring these things all out for yourself. If it's your first time, just go in and embrace it, learn the lessons. No one's going to nail it perfectly the first time. And enjoy, because it is fun. We love doing these things because when it's all said and done, like, most people can feel very satisfied. As tough as it is, like, you definitely feel like you're overcoming something, that, because it just, with the heat and the hills and the downhills, it's like there's so many obstacles to overcome out there, and then the short crew time. So just be grateful that we're able to do this, and then celebrate that we get to overcome all these things together.
Right. And how you were saying, like, when you're talking about people out on the course, like as the runners on the course, like a new person, like it's okay to lean on somebody who's a veteran. It's okay to ask like help. It's okay to talk to someone, but that also goes for like the crews, like somebody, like you said with Anna, like the first time like she did it, like she wasn't familiar with it, and like she's pretty much a pro out there now. Like, so like the crews can also like talk to the other crews like who've been there and done this for years, like, because we all come together to help each other. And like you said at the end, like, like when somebody's timed out, like they're going to give you their supplies, or they're going to stick around and they're going to help you. Like there's help on the course and there's help back in the corral, and like the crews can talk to the other crews and like help each other, be like, hey, my runner's experiencing this. I don't know what to do. Like, what do you think? Like, lean on the other crews too. Like ask them. Like we're all there for the same purpose. You know, everybody wants to see it go far out there. Like so the crews can also help each other.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I want to say one thing on what Aaron was saying, and that's if you notice in this podcast, guys, the one question I did not ask these two is what was their time on a loop? What did they try to hit? Do not try to run with someone else that is not your pace on this course. Like if find someone that is running your pace, and that's who, like, become friends with them and talk to them. Do not like try to run with someone that's a friend that does not run your pace, because you will not make it very long on this course like that.
Sure
so
won't.
that's the one thing I will say is like, and I learned that the hard way my second year. I tried to run someone else's strategy and it blew me up and it did not go well. Run your own race. You will, believe me, there's enough people on this course. I don't care what pace you're running, you're going to run with somebody. Like it's almost hard not to have someone beside you, no matter what pace you're running. So run your own race and you'll meet somebody. Do not try to run with somebody else that is faster than you or slower than you. It's just going to, run your own race. And I think Aaron kind of explained that a little bit, but it's one of those where I learned that the hard way. So don't just try to do that to be with somebody. It doesn't work very well on this course. Guys, great stuff. Thank you so much. And I will say, if for anybody that has not ran mid-state, where else do you find two winners that are working together to share all their knowledge to help you? Like that's the camaraderie of this race. That's the family and community of this race. It's everybody wants to see everyone succeed, just like what Aaron was talking about. And Eric, you can hear people out there helping each other on the course. And that's what's really cool. So shout out to these guys for being so open. Matt, now let's turn you loose with these listener questions.
We got a few listener questions here. The first one, they want to know, do you change socks and shoes during the race? And if so, how many times?
Yeah, definitely change socks and shoes. The couple years where like I went really far out there, whoever my crew person was, they were the ones to make that call. And I think when it comes to time management, to be efficient, there is nothing wrong with coming through, taking off one shoe, one sock, foot care, lubing your foot, one new sock, one new shoe, run a loop, and then do it again the next one. You don't have to change both shoes, both socks at the same time. I've done that a couple times, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've also done it with both shoes at the same time, but if you're pressed for time, like it is okay to run a loop with two different shoes on.
Yep. I mean, I'm pretty sure I changed socks and shoes at every intermission. I don't remember if I have changed shoes not in an intermission. I mean, maybe I have, but I don't think I did. I probably just made it like 12 hours and do a new sock, shoe change, clean my feet during the intermission and lube up.
Yep. I agree with that one. All right, the next one is, what year of mid-state would you go back and do differently if you could, and why?
That's a good question. I think they've shared some of that already.
I think I'd go back to the second year. That second year, I really didn't show up as myself. I tried to stick to the previous year's winner. I tried to run their pace. I tried to show up crewless like Greg Armstrong did the year before. I didn't have the help. I didn't have the strategy that I needed for my time, like coming through the corral. I just thought I could just do it by myself because I watched somebody else do it. I watched somebody else win it the year before, so I was just going to do what they did. Like I didn't show up as myself. I didn't really know what it was that I needed to be efficient out there until, I ran it a little bit more. But I heard somebody say that I really love this, like when you show up to a race, like you're not going to rise to the level of your hopes and your expectations. You're going to descend to the level of your practice. So what you do in your training is what you're going to do out there. Something's not just magically going to happen because you want it to, or it's wishful thinking. You have to know who you are, what your pace is, how you fuel, and you've got to be able to communicate that with your crew. And you've got to speak up, and you've got to have a good plan.
Yep.
Excellent advice.
Yeah, I mean, I would say my second year there was the year that I probably learned the most because I was disappointed. I had a good first showing. The second year, it was a disappointment to me. And through the night, I ran with a group of people that was listening to Luke tell stories, but all night, like, they were going faster. You know, I was like, Jill ran that year, and like there was a whole group of us that made it pretty far together, and I stayed with them to have the energy, but it was too fast for me. So that was a mistake. And then also leading into the race, I had some mindset things, you know, because I thought I could win, and I was trying to have a strategy of someone else that has won that race, and it was like basically like those people are not your friends. You know, they're your competition, and you got to be a competitor out there. And so that's just not how I wanted to be wired. So I had that in my head. I was running too fast. So yeah, I'd go back to the second year. But again, year 3, I got to learn those lessons. I did get to go back and do it again. I just did it the next year, right? So that's the cool part about this race is like you can learn those lessons and then apply it next year. So I'm grateful for that year because I had to see what it was like trying to do it someone else's way, and it doesn't work. Like if you're a social person and talking to people like gives you energy, be that person, right? Be who you are. You know, Eric tells me to be Jamaican, you know, like in Cool Runnings. They were trying to be like the Swiss bobsled team, and they had to be Jamaican because that's who they are. So for anybody out there, just like another, you know, one little thing of encouragement is like run your own race, but be yourself, right? Like you being the best version of yourself is going to allow you to go as far as you possibly can. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to tone down or hype up yourself if that's not who you are. You know what I mean? Just be authentic, right? I'm not a huge talker out there, and that's just who I am. Like I'll have small, intimate conversations, but yeah, that's gonna allow you to go as far as you possibly can. It's just be yourself. Let your personality come out, and don't try to be like anybody else. Don't try to be like anybody else. Except
I
for
think your
Jesus,
character and your integrity is going to carry you a lot farther than your physical strength and your training lead up to the race, because that's really what's going to illuminate when you're out there and it's difficult, like who you are as a person and how you see yourself. That's going to get you through those harder times a lot more than how much you trained before you got to this race.
Yeah, and you know, mentally, being yourself is a whole lot less work.
Yeah, a lot easier.
I mean, when you start trying to be the competitive guy or a David Goggins or someone out there, like you take the joy out of everything you're doing because you're not who you are.
Yeah.
And, you know, that course is hard enough mentally without already trying to be something else. So I love that advice. That is excellent. And Eric, I'm right there with you on the second year. Like if I could pick any year, I would go back to the second year because I think me and you had done kind of similar strategies that year. And it was, we were going to go much slower, you know, save the energy. But man, I run so hot, I overheated very quickly.
Yeah.
And I never
Yeah.
could cool down.
Yeah, 60 seconds to 90 seconds was not enough time for me to do what I needed to do to take care of myself. That might have worked for somebody else and they've had great success out there, but that's not what I needed.
Yeah. No, it's you guys are giving some, you know, throwing some bombs right now. You got some good stuff. I like it.
All right. The next one is how do you deal with fueling late in the race when your stomach just doesn't want anything?
That's when you throw up and make room for more.
That's
No, I'm
right.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Liquid calories at that point.
Yeah, probably
I
just do
think,
what you can.
yeah. And sometimes switching it up. Sometimes it's trying something different. I think anytime we're like that second year, I had a real hard time wanting to take food in, but like I also wasn't taking in enough salt. So I just had this full belly full of water, and I was taking no salt that year. So sometimes I think if you can, if maybe food's not the thing, at least make sure you're still taking the salt. You're not going to be able to go very far or very many laps not eating. It's okay to skip one here or there, but sometimes like you've still got to be taking something, and whether you don't have to eat every single loop, but you've got to just, even if it's just like a little bit of a gel or just like a little bit of food, whatever you can try to keep down.
Yeah,
I mean,
you gotta stay on top of the calories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get behind on this race, it goes back to the same conversation. And when you run 100-mile point-to-point race, you can go hours without eating. You throw up, you keep walking, you're fine. You're as long as you meet the cutoff. This race, you have 4 minutes. Yeah, literally have 4 minutes. So,
And it goes fast.
if you do not figure out how to eat, you're in a short-lived life at this race. And I've tried to tell this to other people when they've asked me about like a backyard that have never ran it. And, this was kind of like my advice to them, but this still is hard to do if you've never trained this. But it's like, when you're sick, what could you eat? Think about that. Like when you are throwing up, when your stomach's nauseous, what can you eat? Can you eat Pringles? Can you eat a popsicle? Can you drink a Sprite? Because that is the stuff you need in that moment. And your crew needs to know that, because you're going to be a 40-year-old baby or a 20-year-old baby out there crying about your stomach. You're not even going to think about this. And that's why y'all heard Eric say he wants to see all of his food in front of him, because you mentally are not going to remember that you have Pringles shoved somewhere 6 feet down in the bottom of a bag. So make sure your crew knows what you can eat when your stomach's terrible and you're being, like you can't tell them what you want, because that's like your emergency food. And maybe you don't know that. And that's going to be hard in this race, because you're going to have to figure it out, because it may happen. But if you've ever been in that moment where you are nauseous, what could you eat? That's the question. What could you eat? And that's hard to know until you've been in that position.
Right. And even like Aaron said, like the drinkable calories, if you're not able to eat food, if you've got, like a high carb scratch or something you can drink that's got calories in it, maybe just to get you over the hump, that's never a bad, card to have up your sleeve.
Yeah, what has really worked for me here lately in the heat, this is interesting. And I'm just going to take a couple bottles just to be safe. But I've on some my really long runs, I've tried to do them during the middle of the day or in the hotter part of the heat, and I could tell my stomach's getting a little nauseous. But Pedialyte, I've been able to drink Pedialyte, no problem, guys. So it's that simple. You just need calories. Take the bottle of Pedialyte and get on the course and walk with it. Take a Coke. Walk with it. What can you take? And think about that. And if you've not experienced that, then that's something you need to train. That's one of these things that Aaron was talking about earlier. It's going to expose your weaknesses. And this is one. Your stomach is a muscle. We're all training to eat and run and do this stuff, and it takes a while to do.
Yep. All right. How many shoes do you bring to the race? Someone has heard that Eric has some special shoelaces.
I usually bring about 3 pairs of shoes with me. Hang on, I'll grab one of the shoes. So I like to use these Caterpie laces. When you see there, so they're kind of like segmented like that. They're elastic, they're stretchy. I never have to tie these shoes. They're basically slip-ons, but they're fit to my feet, so I can just pop these on and off. I'm never wasting time tying my shoes. It makes the shoe changes really, really nice. And since they're nice and stretchy, it gives my foot a little bit of permission to swell. the later the race goes on. So that's something that helps me save time, and I don't have to think about tying my shoes too tight, too loose, readjusting, stopping to fix it. Like those are the perfect things for me. I have them in every single pair of shoes I own.
I still haven't
Aaron,
gotten
how many
into
pair of
those
shoes
yet,
you
man.
take?
You got to do it, man.
I've got a few. I'm just gonna bring a bunch. I'm at a weird spot with shoes right now. I don't really know what shoe I like the best. So I probably have like 6 pairs I'm gonna bring, and they're all different. Topo, Hoka's. I got a Mount to Coast. Yeah, 2 pairs of Topos, 3 pairs of Hoka's, and a Mount to Coast. So like 6. I probably won't wear them all. But
Hey, you can never have enough.
yeah,
We'll count them out
and
there.
You never know
I like
can
wearing
happen
toe
on race day.
socks. I like wearing like Injinji toe socks. I get the lube on there, and then the toe socks. And I've been training with like another pair of socks over them too, to have like another barrier. I was up in the mountains a couple weekends ago, and I had 2 pairs of socks on. And we get done in the mountains, and my friends take their socks off. We all take our shoes off at the car, and their feet are filthy. And because we were hiking in mud and all sorts of stuff, and my feet were clean just because I had 2 pairs of socks on. And I was like, my shoes were destroyed, but my feet were clean. I'm like, that's actually very interesting, because I had like my toe socks and then 1 thin pair of just regular socks on over it. And it just helped keep the dirt out of my feet. So I think I'm going to try that, which I've never done, but the more grit and stuff you can keep out of your off your feet, I think it's going to help. So I'm going to try that this year. I've been doing it in training and it seems fine. So I'll have a lot of socks too.
Yep.
I love it.
All right, this is my last question. You guys have both competed since being the assist. Had one already come back as a champion and compete. But Aaron, this is your first time coming back as the winner. Do you feel like you have any pressure?
I think in a good way. I on one hand, the monkey's off my back. I've won it, like every year was like I just wanted to win it. And so but this year is kind of exciting because there are some bigger names coming, and I think a lot of us normal guys are interested to see how we will stack up against them. So I think pressure a little bit, but I don't feel like I'll be disappointed if I don't win it. I'm confident that I can go pretty far. So I'm hopeful that we as a group like really own the ability that we have to push each other forward, right?
Mhm.
Like if someone wants to set a world record, like you need 2 people at least to be bought in the backyard for over 115 hours or whatever the record is, right? So like if we want to break this course record, like we need more people going forward to really get past it. So I think once I'm in it, I won't feel pressure. It's just coming into the race. It's like, oh, how's it going to go? But I really hope that we encourage each other to all go as far as we possibly can, because I heard Eric say the other day, he truly wants to see what's possible on this course. And I do too. So it's like, if that's me and I end up having the best day anyone's ever had out there, then great. But if I help get somebody else to that point and I know I gave it my all, I'll be satisfied with that too. Because I know I'm still a normal everyday dude that has a life, has a family, has commitments, and I'm trying to fit ultra running into all of it.
Mhm.
And most of us are like that, right? And so I think it's cool to just celebrate that we're all able to do this. And yeah, I'm I would like to be a part of breaking the course record again. And if that means I get to win it, then great. If I'm the assist again, or even third place, but I help push it forward, I'm not saying I'd be set. I mean, I would be satisfied, you know. In the moment, I probably wouldn't be. But I don't know. I'm excited. I mean, we haven't really talked about that aspect of the race at all, but I'm super excited. And I'm in a group chat with a lot of guys running, and we're freaking stoked for this year.
Yeah, and I think it's exciting because I mean every year you check that ultra sign up, like that group of people to potentially break the record's always there. But John said it best, you know, like gauging how well the race went by whether or not the course record got broken is kind of a poor metric to evaluate the race. Like I think we've really seen in the last 2 years how much weather truly does play a huge factor, but also like, you know, you have to have that togetherness. Like you have to have, if it's raining cats and dogs, like we're gonna band together and we're gonna push through that. If it's hot as can be, we're gonna band together and push through that. You know, I think you can't go out there looking for a number. Like, you know, like you have to go there and you're going there to win. Like whatever that number is, and whether or not like the course record gets broken, like I want to see it get broken because I want to see what the potential is for that course. Like, what could that be? How gnarly could that actually be? And it's there. Like the people are always there. You know, whether or not it happens is like a different ball game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting this year because I do feel like there's a pretty stacked field as far as like talented runners that could push it. But man, same token, like who knows? It may be the hottest damn day of the year next Saturday, and if it is, you know, that's going to be a rude awakening for a lot of us.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was watching one of Becca's stories, and she's like, "It is thick outside today." Like, who knows? And you don't know.
today.
Like, and I mean, it's still kind of far out to, you know, be planning the weather, but like it's gonna be hot. You know, at some point it's gonna rain. Like you gotta really control the controllables. Some things are out of your hands, like especially with weather, but you've got to have a game plan and you've got to have a strategy of if A happens, then B is gonna happen. If B happens, then C is gonna happen. Like you've got to be able to adapt on the fly and troubleshoot because you know you may go in with one kind of plan and that may not happen. You know, like you've got to be willing to be patient to maybe possibly change your strategy if need be. But you got to be patient until you find that out.
Yep.
No, that's 100%. And I mean, this course is very much controlled by climate, so it can make your day a lot harder. But at the same time, like we can't control any of that. So, you know, the best thing we can do is show up Saturday and be ready for whatever and just adapt, like you said. And that's all you can do.
Yep.
And I do think though, like it's going to be an interesting year. I think it's going to be fun. I'm excited for it. And I'm excited to actually try to compete this year because really I haven't been able to compete at this since really the first or second year because I've always had a race or something that's happened a week or two before, you know, and so I've trained just for this race. So it's going to be fun and, you know, be different for me this time. And I think it's going to be, you know, fun to actually get to hopefully make it through a whole night. We'll see, you know, it's still mid-state. Like I could be out in 12 hours, who knows? But I'll take whatever the day or days give me and, you know, have fun with it. And it'd just be nice to run with you guys again. So Eric, I hate that we're going to miss you, man.
I know I picked the wrong year to sit out, man.
But you know, you'll do great at Ray. We can't wait to follow you along there. And Aaron, we'll see you next weekend, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any last questions, Matt?
That's all I got.
Guys, thank you so much. This has been a really cool podcast.
It has.
I've enjoyed this, and I think the listeners are really going to love this when we get it shared. So thank you all so much for taking your time to do this. I mean, Eric, you literally drove straight from work and jumped on the podcast. Aaron went through about 12 devices to get online, but we're working now. But guys, thank you all so much. And, you know, can't wait to see you all.
Absolutely, man. Good luck to
Likewise.
everybody